Om Sai Ram. I'd like to share Swami's message on managing mental health. Now, this is the time of COVID, and and people are talking about mental health and issues of being locked down. So, what does Swami say about mental health? And I hope that the sharing can be of help to everybody. It's just my sharing. I'd like to please apologize for any mistakes that I made. All the quotes that I'm going to share are from Sathya Sai Baba. I'm sharing the quotes and I'm giving my interpretation. So please, do keep in mind this is my interpretation. If you disagree, that is fine. It's absolutely fine for you to disagree. But this is just my sharing, and I hope that we can, just think of what Swami has said about mental health. So, firstly, man suffers from two kinds of illness, physical and mental. They are the cause of disequilibrium of the three tempers and three gunas. Physical health is a prerequisite for mental health, and mental health ensures physical health. Swami said this in 1959. This is before a lot of people even accepted mental health as an issue that has to be dealt with. Swami talked about mental health as equivalent and equal to physical health and mental health leading to physical health. Before mainstream media, before a lot of people caught up onto that idea. So, how does Swami talk about us keeping our mental health? Firstly, the secret of perfect mental health lies in keeping the mind always cheerful, never worried, never hurried, never brought down by any fear, thought, or anxiety. Yes, we all know this. But Swami, it's hard. How? Swami does give some tips. Okay, so this is all Swami says, and how Swami does show how he says. First one, life is a mosaic of pleasure and pain. Grief is an interval between two moments of joy. So the first way to keep ourselves balanced is to understand that this will pass. COVID will pass. Being stuck inside your house will pass. The issues that we are now facing with COVID will pass. The world will recover. Life has got both joy and happiness. The pendulum swings. Swami has ensured that grief, it will happen, it will come, but it will also go. So even this will pass. And if we keep that in our minds and we go like, this is temporary. It can last a long time, but it's still temporary. So let it pass. There's a saying, no, Winston Churchill said, when you are in hell, keep walking. And this is exactly what Swami means. Let the time go. If you keep persevering, if you keep moving through this bad period, we will come to a place of joy. We will come to a place of peace. We will come to a place of resolution. First one. Second one is good company is important. It helps cultivate good qualities. When you're talking about mental health, people who help you move through your grief, people who help you move through your pain, will help you move through this crisis. Get a group of people who are supportive, who are creative, who are helpful, and you be part of the supportive, creative, and helpful group. I mean, if you are the bad company within the group, if you are the one doing the negativity and bringing the negativity to the table, then that's a problem as well. So you must be part of the good company, and be part of the good company, and try work together to manage the situation. The third one is you are seeking joy and peace in far off places, but the spring of joy is in your heart. The haven of peace is in yourself. While your friends can help you, we are divine. We are the ones, when we go inside ourselves, we can choose to be happy. We can say that, we can choose to look at our lives and say, okay, today I want to be upset because I'm upset. Fine. So 1 or 2 days, I decide to be upset. I let myself feel the upset, experience it, and then after that, it's time to change my behavior so I can feel a different emotion. So change your action in order to improve your emotional state, and this can be done. So but if you need to allow that experience, that emotions to run its course, let the emotions run its course. Don't deny the emotions, but then after that, once you've worked your way through it, change the behavior, do something different, go into a different crowd, and your emotions will start changing along with it. So that is one of the Swami says, go inside ourselves. Understand that we are the ones who control our emotions, not the emotions control us. We control our emotions through our actions and through our thoughts, because emotions alone can go haywire. Okay, so this is the third one. The fourth one is, you do not have to practice all that you read. Take one or two things and let that become the reality to you. Why is this part of mental health? Because sometimes we read one thing, we read something else, it becomes overwhelming. Oh my God, there's so many sadhanas that I have to do. There's so many work that I have to do in order to be a better person, in order to manage my mental health. No, take one thing, take two things that you have and start practicing. And then remember, it's inside yourself. And when you recognize inside yourself, oh, I have improved, I have moved forward, I have overcome, then you get that sense of peace. Then you get that sense of joy. But if you're doing like 10 things at the same time and expecting 10 things to change at the same time, and it's all too much, then, we get overburdened, we get overwhelmed, and we cannot move. And then it becomes an issue because then we get stuck again. So keep moving by focusing on one or two things to practice. You can keep reading, no problem, but the practice is one or two things, and then move forward in your life once you've improved those two things. And finally, you can remain in the world for any number of years, but don't let the world take hold. Don't let the world take hold of the inside world. There's an example of the lotus. It stays deep down in the mud. It comes up to light. And it can't stay without water because it would die. So it has to be part of that water. It has to be part of that mud. But it does not get mixed up in either the mud or the water. You've seen the lotus. Even if the water comes, it goes off. So when you drop a water on the lotus, the water actually becomes like a ball, and then it just flows off the lotus. Okay. Now, when they talk of God, they always say the lotus eyes of God, the lotus feet, because that is the inner significance. The inner significance of God is, we are all part of these problems, but don't let the problems stick to you. Don't let the problems become all that you can think about. So here is one of the techniques where we're talking about how to manage these problems. And here's a slight suggestion. One of the ways where we let our problems stick with us is the last part at night. You've said your prayer, you're lying down, you want to sleep, and all you can think about is the problems, the drama, what's happening on YouTube, what's happening on Facebook. All that whole thought goes through our heads. We cannot sleep. We have to exhaust ourselves trying to sleep. So here is a suggestion of something we can do. And you have to admit, if you sit down at night and you're trying to say prayers and all that, it does become taxing on the brain as well. So why don't you try this? Make up a story of yourself with Ganesha, with Krishna, with Baba, with Jesus, with Christ, Jesus Christ, with Buddha. Take yourself, imagine yourself in the time when Jesus was alive, when Krishna was alive, when Buddha was alive, and your interactions with them in a real say. And part of it can be your problems, and you share the problems with them. Imagine yourself sharing something, doing something with God. Create a story around it. Make the whole story, quite complex, and in your brain, enjoy the story. Tell yourself the story of yourself and God interacting with each other while you're trying to go to sleep. Make that an alternative. Instead of you thinking of all the problems of the night, all the problems of the day, think of that instead. Our communication with God does not have to just be via prayer. It can be a little bit more intimate. It can be a little bit more wonderful because that God is inside you. And then, when you bring God in a healthy way, in a positive way. So I'm interacting with him in a positive way. And that interaction can be a real interaction. It can be, it can be a real interaction of a whole story with him, or a whole interaction, or with her, okay, with Amman, if that's who you choose to have a encounter with. So this would be one way where we manage our mental health in a very practical way. So managing mental health is small actions that can accumulate and that can lead you to a healthier state of mind. So I hope that you all find this useful. Thank you, and Sarah.